Hey guys, and welcome back to EQ Planes, and today I'll be doing a trip report on United 737-800 from Washington Dulles to Atlanta. I had just gotten off my flight on the Air Canada CRJ900, and my first impressions of Washington Dulles were quite positive. We had moved to the B/A section of the terminal, where most the international wide-bodies and narrow-bodies tend to park. It was quite a large terminal, but had no shortage in amenities, including restaurants and places to shop. However, most importantly, it provided some pretty decent plane spotting from certain areas. Some gates don't provide great views of the aircraft, but some do, and you can still get some pretty decent shots of these very cool international wide bodies, like this Lufthansa A340-600, which had recently been brought back into service. However, unfortunately, these aircraft probably won't stick around for too long. After watching some of these other international wide bodies leave, we decided to have dinner at Chick-fil-A and then make our way towards the C/D gates where our United 737 would be parked today. After a walk on one of the underground pathways between A and B and the Z gates, we went from the Z gates to the D and C gates using one of Dulles' famous people movers. The people movers were certainly a fun way to get around Washington Dulles. It gave pretty good views of the aircraft. Unfortunately, there weren't more aircraft at gate, so I only really got a good view of this Delta A321. However, it was late at night, so that's to be expected. After moving into the D and C section, it was immediately clear it did not quite have the same ambience as the A and B section. Definitely a bit more dated. You could tell they had tried to do some touch-up work, but its age definitely still shows. However, it was by no means a terrible terminal. It did also provide decent views of the aircraft at certain gates. Speaking of aircraft views, here's our United 737 registered November 76505, which will be taking us to Atlanta today. The aircraft was delivered in August of 2006 to Continental Airlines, making this aircraft roughly my age. Yes, this aircraft is painted in United's new Evo Blue livery. I've said it before and I've said it again. This livery's really grown on me, and I really like it now. So I'm glad to see United's painting it quickly. Now, after what was a fairly long line for boarding, considering the flight was almost 100% full, surprising considering this flight was nearly at midnight, let's see what United has to offer on their 737-800. Now, my immediate impressions of the cabin were not bad. The seats didn't look terrible. The cabin does look a little bit dated when it comes to the paneling. However, nothing super bad. Now, let's take a closer look at the seat, which is something I usually do when we're in the air, but nobody was beside me and it was still light in the aircraft, so here we go. Let's start out in the back pocket where you have the United Airlines magazine. Now, I tend to find after COVID, most airlines seem to have gotten rid of their in-flight magazines. However, it's nice to see that United has got them back, so with your standard safety card in there. Now, unfortunately, the video corrupted in where I look at the seat and the tray table in more detail, which is highly unfortunate, but the legroom was decent, the tray table also a decent size. The seat had pretty decent recline and was relatively comfortable. Certainly sat in better seats before, but it was certainly nothing to complain about. So yeah, definitely unfortunate that video corrupted, but it was a pretty run-of-the-mill experience. Anyways, stick around for this taxi and takeoff from Dulles, along with a review of United's in-flight service and DirecTV system.
Exits. All 8 exits are marked with overhead signs. As you locate the 2 exits
Up the window shade for taxi and takeoff. And we'll be taking...
let's take a look at United's in-flight entertainment system. So this is a direct TV system, which means you get live TV up in the air. It certainly has its perks, meaning you can watch things like the news or sports live. However, this is definitely a pretty old system, so the screens are not the best and they are pretty slow. And the controls for the screen are also on the armrest, meaning that, well, if the person sitting next to you's got their arm on the armrest, good luck trying to control whatever you're watching. But certainly better than nothing, like what you would get on their A320s. Now time for the Lou review. Now, it certainly wasn't nothing special, but certainly wasn't terrible either, and was actually relatively clean compared to other aircraft lavatories I've been in, so yeah, not bad. United also did come around with a drink service, which was certainly a nice touch. Now stick around for this landing and taxi into Atlanta, along with my final thoughts on the aircraft. Now, my final thoughts are on the aircraft is that it's a pretty run-of-the-mill experience. The IFEs were a nice touch, however, they certainly are dated, and I would say this aircraft would probably be a lot better with the Boeing Sky interior. However, it certainly wasn't a bad experience, and I think United is a carrier that is improving a fair bit. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and hope to see you guys back next time.